Thank you, Colin, for that beautiful introduction. Hi everybody, my name's Kirri and I'm here today to present to you the many reasons why a career among health is a challenging, rewarding and amazing choice. Like Colin said, I am the original naughty kid, so thank you for that introduction. A couple of months ago, when Bridget and Angela sat me down and told me about this, I had no idea what I was going to write. I had no idea what I was going to say. So naturally I looked at them and said, I have no idea what I'm going to say to these kids. I don't know how to tell people how great working in health is. Bridget told me to just tell my story and to just be me. She asked me what it was that I wanted to do in life, in work, in military mama. And I thought for a moment, what is it that I want to do in life, in work, at military mama? I want to inspire greatness. My speech is a little different, perhaps more of a story than a speech, but the aim is to inspire greatness within you. I'm a Tasmanian girl, born and bred, and I grew up in Blackmans Bay. In 1999, when I was just 10 years old, I began to walk the turmoil path that was my life. It was the end of Year 5, and I had been suspended over 5 times that year for naughty behaviour. In the first term of Year 6, my parents were called into the school and sat down and were given a list of other schools in the area that had agreed to take me on, with a high recommendation for me to leave the school. So I finished my primary school life in a different school. I was bad at maths, I was bad at English, I was naughty in the classroom, and the only place that I fitted in was the gym. I loved hockey, I loved basketball, and I loved AFL. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I was a bully. I picked on other kids and used it as a mask for myself. The only place that I really felt like I didn't have to bully my way into fitting into a place was in a team environment. In 2001, I packed my bags and headed for high school, so excited that I was finally a big fish, rip-roaring, ready to go. I knew people from my old school, people from my new school, and people from all the other sports I had played. I lasted a year at that school. For some reason, much beyond my professional knowledge, I just couldn't behave. I was that naughty girl that all the parents told their children to stay away from, and all my friends were beginning to drift away from me. In 2002, I started at a new high school, a school that was a little bit different. I had a uniform, a hat, and a bunch of prefixes telling me what to do. Because I hadn't started the year at this highly prestigious school, I was not allowed to join the hockey team. I didn't qualify for the basketball team or the netball team because nobody knew me and nobody passed the ball to me. They didn't play footy because it was an all-girls school, and the track team had already been chosen, both long and short distance. It was a matter of months before I fell into the wrong crowd. By the end of Year 8, you would have found me hiding behind the gym, bum-puffing cigarettes and all sorts of other stuff. I had a boyfriend who had a car, and as disgusted as I am to admit it, I was that chick wearing a baggy fox jumper over a supre skirt and knee-high Ugg boots. Year 9 swang around quick and I'd moved out of home, much to my very adorable mother's disgust. I'd manipulated myself onto a Centrelink payment. I was attending school part-time and working part-time. I was in Year 9, the same age as you guys. The few friends I did have were all in similar boats, and the girls I desperately wanted to be friends with had all been told by their mothers to stay far, far away from me. Year 10 came along and I thought I was an adult. The few times I turned up at school, I would leave during class to smoke stuff that wasn't really tobacco or to catch the bus out to Risdon Vale to visit my boyfriend at the prison. I was working part-time at a cafe and a bar and living a very adult life. But as things go when you're living a life like this, things turn sour. People who I thought were my friends turned on me. People who I wanted to be my friends looked down on me. And eventually, at the end of Year 10, I found myself bundled up by a bunch of policemen in the back of a paddy wagon after they rescued me from getting gang-bashed at an underage disco. With my tail between my legs, a black eye, some bruises and a fair few stitches, I ended up back at Mummy's, desperate to change. Year 11 came along and I started college. Everyone knew who I was and everyone's parents warned them to stay far away from me. I vividly remember one girl saying to me, "Mum said you'll be knocked up and on drugs by the end of the year." That was in 2006, so I changed schools again. Again, everyone knew me, everyone talked, and within no time I was back in the wrong crowd. And then one day there was a man at the college dressed in a navy uniform. I remember thinking to myself, this man will have a cigarette for sure. So as I did with no hesitation in those days, I wandered up and asked the man for a cigarette. The following conversation changed my life. 6 weeks later, I was at recruit school. I spent nearly 8 gorgeous years in the RAN. I travelled the world and had an amazing time. I moved from ship to ship to ship, shore establishment to shore establishment, state to state, friendship group to friendship group. Are you starting to see the pattern here, guys? All my life I moved around, whether it was because I wanted to or not. I constantly moved and I never belonged. In 2011, I found myself yet again in the wrong crowd of people. 22 now and living in Western Australia. I did what all 22-year-old girls did, or so I thought. I partied, I dieted, and I had a ripper of a time all the time. In June 2012, I found myself pregnant, 13 weeks pregnant. Although it wasn't the end of 2006, she sure was right, that mother. I'd found myself knocked up and living a very high life. The pregnancy was horrible and I was miserable. Everyone told me it was hormones and it was normal to feel like this. But I actually remember one weekend lying in my bed crying, wishing that I had enough courage to stab a knife into this huge and swollen belly of mine. December 2002 came along and so did the birth. Not just any old birth, a birth that resulted in me losing 80% of my blood, my daughter drowning in it and me being rushed to ICU. After having a 30-centimetre B-Lynch stitcher sewing my bowel, bladder and uterus back in, I was a mess. As you can imagine, the next 12 months unfolded some deep, dark and horrendous feelings and a long battle with postnatal depression. Still being a member in the RAN, struggling with a work situation that would only get worse if they knew, I had to hide it. Utilising my mother's position in a welfare sector to get me help from a free service, as well as a very fancy and lovely psychologist who was getting paid lots of money. My battle was long and hard and my life was a shambles. I had no career to look ahead to, I had no friends, I had no savings. I had nothing. One ridiculously cold day, much like this really, I was lying in bed at my mother's house where I had now moved into. Hating life, feeling downright shit. Tired, sad and bloody lonely. Something deep within me, and only the fitness God knows what, surged me to dig up some warm sports clothes and take my little girl for a walk. As I walked her in the pram, I began to run, and I didn't stop until I reached all the way to the point of Midway Point. I remember getting there feeling so exhausted but feeling awesome, looking down at my little girl's face as she was grinning from ear to ear. It was at that second I knew my life was going to be better. That was 2 years ago now. Since then, I've completed a business degree via correspondence. I've completed a Cert 3 and a Cert 4 in personal training through the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers. I've brought my own home, I've started my own business, and I've reached the top 5 in the Puma and Women's Health Next Fitness Star competition. I've travelled to Sydney and been put up in the Hilton. I've attended fitness photo shoots and featured in national magazines read by over 70,000 Australians. I've featured in Puma shoots in the Mercury, the Sydney Morning Herald and the Melbourne papers. And most importantly, I've built an amazing and special bond with my amazing and special little girl, Addison Joan. The health faculty at UTAS is a huge umbrella that covers tourism, food, art, welfare, pharmacy and medicine. It covers sports science, psychology and cultural studies. But me, I'm a personal trainer. I studied through the Australian Institute of Personal Training. I don't see anywhere in the UTAS catalogue, come and be a personal trainer. When I started this speech, I started by saying my story was a little different and my career in health is a little different. Now let me tell you why. You've seen doctors today, you've seen pharmacists, but not me. The Military Mama headquarters is built on a solid foundation, a philosophy that I believe in wholly and solely. A strong mind is the foundation for a strong body. I'm not just a personal trainer. In fact, when I wake up in the morning, I don't wake up today saying, I'm going to make my teammates faster, fitter or skinnier. I wake up and think, today I'm going to make a difference. Today I'm going to put one more brick in place to aid in building a woman up, to help her realise her own self-worth, her own strength, both physically and mentally. Today, I'm going to help her realise that she too can do all that she dreams of, and that she is a good mother, even if she wants to kill her toddler sometimes. And she is a good colleague, even if she's running 5 minutes late every day. She's a good friend, even if sometimes she has to cancel, and she is a good person, even though some days we just don't feel like we are. 12 months ago, I graduated from the Australian Institute of Personal Training, something I never thought I'd do. And only 9 days ago, I opened the doors to the Military Mama headquarters and invited Hobart into my life. Having a career in the health profession is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Every single day I help someone become a better version of the person that they already are. Not because they aren't a good person already, but because sometimes you just find yourself in a pickle and you need someone a little bit stronger than you are at that moment to guide you and support you and show you. Having a career in health is by far the best decision of my life, and I only wish that I had have chosen to do it when I was your age. If this is what I've created in just 12 months, imagine what I could have done if I'd started at your age. Thank you for listening to my story, and thank you for all the volunteers who got up here and did burpees and squats at the start. Although a little different from the others, I hope it had just as much effect. I'll be here in the break if you have any questions, and thank you to the University of Tasmania for inviting me here today and asking me to share my story. My name is Kirri Brasendale. I'm the owner and dominator of Military Mama Headquarters in Cambridge. And remember, a strong mind is the foundation for a strong body, and just like Dr. Colin Jones said, be good and do good. Thank you.